Nicolas Sarkozy, he's out of power but rarely out of the limelight. He's now been comparing this judicial wiretapping of his telephone to tactics employed by the Stasi.
That's right. In an address to the French people that went out in Le Figaro, he put up a text of that also on his Facebook page last night, saying things like, "Can you believe that this is the France we're living in 2014? My phone calls with private conversations with my wife and my children being listened into. It's all very well if it's me, but next it could be you." So basically an appeal to the French people saying this is not... these are practices that are unworthy of the French Republic. The thing is, the irony of all of this is, as we'll get to later, his own, there were a lot of accusations of, certainly when it came to the judicial system, not exactly proper behaviour under his presidency either. But in any case, all of this is after his telephones were wiretapped, and conversations such as the headline you can see right there were overheard and printed in the press. All of this to try to determine whether Nicolas Sarkozy had been involved in corruption or corrupt financing of his 2007 campaign. So obviously all of this has forced him out of a silence that he's pretty much consistently kept since he left office in 2012. Now, the most controversial statement, as you said at the top of the slot there, Chris, is the comparison with the Stasi, and in particular the film The Lives of Others, La Vie des Autres, as it's known in French. And you can see online you have these photo montage or these kind of mashups showing François Hollande listening to the French people, perhaps a little bit more than the French people would like, or so Nicolas Sarkozy, that is the charge that is going along with that article, right? So there you go. It's certainly got an awful lot of reaction, journalists reacting to it. For example, Anne Sinclair, the editor of the Huffington Post French edition, saying, look, what's most shocking about this is the vitriol in the article. He's entitled to say what he thinks, but the tone of it was very inappropriate for a former president, especially a couple of days ahead of local elections, when you would hope that politicians would be keeping some sort of calm in terms of their public statements. This is only going to play into the hands of the far right, the extreme parties from her point of view.
The tone of former presidents is always important in France, as it is for current ones, and the incumbent, François Hollande, keeping his distance but giving Sarkozy a bit of a telling off, really.
Basically saying that the comparison between the French justice system and the Stasi is insupportable, or unbearable, untenable, etc. The Justice Minister Christiane Taubira also spoke out today, saying that this was a brutally humiliating thing to say about the French system, the French state in particular, when the French had chosen to try to rehabilitate the state of law, i.e. by voting in her government. So clearly also, she's seeking to promote François Hollande's government. Manuel Valls, the Interior Minister, said lumping together the French Republic with the dictatorship of East Germany, or former East Germany, is unacceptable, and also this is libelous against judges and police officers. So look, across the board, very, very critical statements. And this ahead of local elections, it's not great really for the body politic generally. Just quickly worth pointing out that in the past, if I could fast forward to this, Silvio Berlusconi also made the same statement, saying that he also, of course, had trouble with investigative judges in Italy, and he described it as being exactly like the Stasi, with some people saying that this is Nicolas Sarkozy stealing out of his, his speeches, and that's a little ad saying, all of us with Sarkozy, not an ad, a cartoon.
OK, let's move on to something a little bit different. We were enjoying listening to some English people speaking French a little earlier this evening. Let's get our own back now. Courtesy of the Socialist Party candidate for this weekend's Paris mayoral election.
That's right. She has released 6 videos in 6 different languages appealing to Europeans living in Paris to vote in local elections, which they're entitled to do, including Slovenians. Slovenians recently joined the European Union. Let's take a listen to how Anne Hidalgo sounds in English.
On Sunday, you are deciding. On Sunday, you are deciding the future of Paris, no later than Sunday. I'm counting on you. Vote in your district for a Paris that there is on Sunday.
I think that was literally translated.
Got your vote there, hasn't it?
That's right. So I think that was a literal translation. Let's take a listen to her in italiano, that's how you say it in Italian.
Domenica sarete voi a decidere per l'avvenire di Parigi. Da domenica conto su di voi. Votate la lista Parigi, la Parigi audace. Nel vostro per Parigi. A domenica.
No subtitles in that one because it says the same as the first video. cosmopolitan lady, also flirting with illegality because French politicians in the Electoral Code are only allowed to speak French.
James Green, grazie. I'll be back with more news very shortly to stay with us here on Life in Paris.